Alright, this nasty weather is a good chance to test out a survival knife. Let's see what it is and give it a test. Alright guys, so let's test out this knife. This is the cold steel drop forge survivalist knife. It's kind of interesting because I really liked my cold steel Recon Scout, and this is very similar, a little bit different, but very similar knife, and it's a great looking survival knife. So let's give it a test. Let's give it a chopping test here. Let's see how fast I can get through this 3.5 to 4 inch little piece of wood here. Just chopping through it, and then maybe we'll do a bit of batoning too. I got my baton laying around here somewhere. Yeah, it bites pretty good. Actually chopping quite a bit better than I expected. It feels pretty lightweight. gonna guess. Oh, maybe not. A little more wood to go through. holes or anything. Blade's looking good. Alright, let's do a little batoning here. See how it goes through this nasty tree I brought home a while back. I'm actually surprised there's not too much vibration in the handle. Good, went through that, not too much effort. Not too shabby actually. Yeah, not too bad. That's a pretty good job. A little bit of firewood for later. Alright, let's do a little bit of quick feather sticking. Let's see how the knife does with that. There's no choil on this knife, which is fine. You just get as close as you can to the blade. Let's see how she does here. Of course, every knife takes a little bit of getting used to when it comes to feather sticking, because you got to get used to the blade geometry a little bit, but this one seems to be doing okay. This is also not the greatest wood for this. This wood's pretty gnarly, so I have to take that into account a bit, but it's doing just fine. Try some finer feather sticks here. Yeah, you can do finer feather sticks. Not too much issue. Get some decent curls going. Yeah, so that's pretty good. Alright, let's go have a chat about this guy in the knife cave here. Alright folks, we're inside, away from the blustery cold there, looking at the cold steel Dropford Survivalist. Very interesting knife actually. The reason I never bought this when I was first looking for a survival knife is I kind of thought it was just a cheap imitation of the Cold Steel Recon Scout, and I was like, oh, it's kind of just cheap and crap probably, and I'm not going to bother with it. But actually I'm pretty impressed with it. It's about the right blade length. I like how it's got an 8-inch blade. It's just a really handy blade length for a survival knife. You can stab and penetrate really far in wild animals if they attack you, and you can still chop pretty good, and it can split pretty big wood via batoning. Like, you know, if you're really gung-ho about it, you could probably split a 6-inch log with this. So, which is nice if you need to. So yeah, I find the 7 to 8 inch blade length just gives you a lot more versatility. That's why I like that kind of length. Yeah, I guess, like, you know, with the way the handle's designed on this knife, it's pretty good. Like, it's a good length. You get a little bit of extra length for moving down and doing some chopping, getting a chopping grip, and that little bird's beak kind of holds your hand there, so it's pretty good. And the grips are kind of like skateboard tape grips. They're pretty grippy. In cold weather, I'd probably put some hockey tape on this just to insulate your hand from it, if you're not going to wear gloves, especially, or even if you are wearing gloves. That way it just won't conduct the cold into your hand, because there's a little bit more metal exposed on this than, say, something like this Tops to Homo, where you just have a little bit of metal sticking out on the handle. I do like how they did the guard, so you can see the guard comes lower down on the bottom and it's smaller on the top, which means you can get over top of it if you were to do finer work or feather sticking or whatever, you can get over top of it pretty well. You can get over top of it better than I could on the Recon Scout, so I do like that. These knives have been proven to be very durable. They do a good heat treat on these, and they're made out of 5160 spring steel, I believe, or 52-100, I can't remember which, but either way, it's a good steel. It's the same thing that my I don't have it down here anymore, the knives behind Frank Bowie's made out of, same kind of stuff. So pretty good steel, and cold steel still does a good heat treat on all their knives. They still do a good job. So you got a lanyard hold down here, which is handy. Keep it from slipping out of your hand, or you could put some like bright colored paracord in here so that you don't lose the knife. You got a really good drop point on the front here for stabbing. You got a big cutting edge. I like that there's no choil on this knife, honestly. It suits it well. It does fine without one. It doesn't need it. So yeah, let's compare this to a couple other knives. Oh, one thing I want to do is talk about the sheath. The sheath is good. I like the cold steel sheaths. They do the trick for, a cheap price. It comes with the knife. You don't have to go getting a Kydex aftermarket, and of course you always can do that if you want to, but I've never had any trouble with these Securex sheaths, and it locks in, it clicks in and locks in. There's no wiggle on mine, but I've seen people see wiggle on theirs. And I always like the cold steel, nylon belt loops they put on these. They drop just far enough that it's kind of level with your belt, which means it's not going to get in the way of like a backpack strap or anything when you have like those hip straps on your backpack on. So that's good. So, and you have the modularity of being able to strap it to a bunch of stuff and all that kind of thing. So yeah, they're good. So I'm going to move this out of the way though, because I want to compare it to a couple other knives that I'm interested in comparing it to. So let's bring out my favorite, the Tops Longhorn Bowie, and kind of compare the size there. So we'll try to line up the blade length. So you can see you're not getting a ton more blade length. If we line up the handles, maybe a little bit more, I think, right about there. Yeah, you're getting maybe, I don't know, half an inch, 3/4 of an inch, something like that, a little bit more blade length. Drop forward Survivalist. The handles are a little bit different. So you got the longer handle on the Tops Longhorn Bowie, and a shorter handle on the Drop Forward Survivalist. That gives this guy a bit more chopping power for the blade length it has. But as far as overall length goes, they're actually pretty similar, I think, if we put them close up there. Yeah, they're basically the exact same overall length. So basically the same size of knife. And you're getting a little bit more versatility. You could argue either way with both, because you're getting more blade length, usable cutting edge with the Drop Forward Survivalist, a little bit less of this, and you got the choil that's even decreasing your cutting edge even more. But then you could also argue, I like a choil and I want to be able to come right up on that blade and do finer work. But I do like the shape of this handle better. Of course, it's a nicer handle, Mercado scales, as opposed to these cheapy ones. But this is also like a 250 Canadian dollar-ish knife, and this one was 150, so you're getting a lot of value with the Drop Forward Survivalist. In fact, if I had taken the chance and gotten one of these earlier on, I'm not even sure if I would have bought a lot of these other knives I have for survival, because this one kind of fits the bill of what I was looking for, to be honest with you, and I'll probably use it a fair amount. So but of course, Tops Longhorn Bowie is a lot more pretty. Definitely a useful knife as well. And difference too is, you got a rounded spine with the Tops Longhorn Bowie, and you got basically what's a 90-degree spine with this Drop Forward Survivalist, and you can do sparks, get sparks off it with a ferro rod, so that's good. Let's compare it to something else that I'm interested in comparing it to. I want to compare it to the Tops Tahoma field knife. So let's bring that contender in. I think the Tops Tahoma field knife straight up right off the bat is a better survival knife, and I'm going to kind of explain why. And I'm also going to explain why the main reason I don't like it. So you got a little bit more blade length. You've got a lot more blade mass, I think, in this knife. They're both about the same blade thickness. They're both about 3/16. I think this one's a hair over 3/16. It's a much wider blade. It's got more blade depth. The Tahoma does. It's got a better chopping handle, so you can get more grips on this. Of course, you've got the choil, so you can get on there, but the chopping grip on this is really nice. I do like the chopping grip on the Tahoma field knife, and it's just a nice feeling handle, even though it looks blocky. Feels nice in the hand, in my opinion. It is a bit of a strange looking fellow, the Tops Tahoma. The one thing I don't like though about the Tops Tahoma, and I'm going to explain what that is I'll get this stuff out of the way a little bit more. This top cutting edge, so it's got two cutting edges. This is like your backup cutting edge, is kind of the way Andy Tran intended it when he designed this knife. Mine's been dulled, but it's still very thin edge. And it's not useful for batoning, it just eats up your baton sticks. And he intended you to baton kind of back here and put the blade, like if the log was kind of here and you're batoning right here, it's supposed to go through that way. I haven't had much luck with that. I find it's actually very difficult to get through some wood that way. Maybe it's just the type of wood that I use. I use a lot of pine and stuff, so I don't know if that's what, I have no idea. But I much prefer being able to just put the wood right up to the handguard right here and then baton on this edge, which on this knife works quite well because you've got, let's see if I can get this to focus. Good amount of real estate there, as you can kind of see, for hitting on there. So quite a neat knife, very interesting. And just for fun, we'll put up the Wolverine, which is kind of one of my favorite knives at the moment. I've got a lot of nice knives though now. It's kind of hard to pick favorites, but you can see clearly it's missing a couple inches of blade length. It's got a 6.5 inch blade. This guy's got about an 8 inch blade, so missing an 1.5 inches spec wise. But I find this blade to be very functional. I do really like the Wolverine. It's a wonderful knife, and I've been using it a lot. Just really, I like it a lot more than I thought I would, but wasn't sure about it, and I'm definitely sure of it now. So what other knife can we put up against this? Let's get the Architect 6.5 out. Got too many knives. I need to sell some of these things. Alright. And Architect again is missing a couple inches on there, which makes sense. It's got about a 6.5 inch blade as well. So, yep. Good knife though, for sure. Alright, let's put that guy away. Alright, so yeah, that's the Drop Forge Survivalist by Cold Steel. Cold Steel's always made high quality budget knives, if that makes sense. So they're not as fancy pants as nicer knives, you know, where they got more attention to detail and you know, G10 grips or micarta grips, all that kind of fun stuff. But they do a really good job at giving you a good sheath that you don't need to upgrade, a good knife that's been well heat treated with quality steel, good steel that's usable and is going to be a workhorse basically. And their designs are very good. This is one of my favorite blade designs, that kind of like Cold Steel Recon Scout sort of drop point blade. I love it. It's wonderful. And this blade feels a little bit lighter than the Tops Tahoma. Yeah, it definitely is. Got a few ounces less for sure. So there's also that aspect. If you're hiking and stuff, you know, it's a little bit lighter weight, but can probably do a lot of the same jobs. But definitely somewhere where the climate's warmer, this would be a good knife. It's good in cold climates. You just got to prepare the knife for it. But with like I said, put maybe some hockey tape on there, or wear gloves, or both. So, and it feels good in the hand. I've got medium to large size hands, and it fits in my hand well. So that's also nice to see. But yeah, that's kind of like my quick review of the Drop Forge Survivalist. If you're on a budget and you're looking for a quality survival knife, and you're looking for something like I like, where you're looking for about an 8 inch blade, 7-8 inch blade, this is a really good knife to go after. It's a bit more expensive than the Cold Steel SRK, but it's also like full tang. Like, this thing's Drop Forge, just like one honking piece of steel that's been stamped in a shape essentially. So there's that. And then the SRK from Cold Steel's got more of a stick tang, so you know, there's more likely it's a little bit less tough of a knife, even though they're still very tough knives. But yeah, definitely something that you could survive the apocalypse with. You keep it as a truck knife or a go bag knife. or just like a beater around camp that you don't have to worry about like beating on if it breaks. You just go, oh well, and like good luck breaking this thing, man. These are tough knives. I challenge you to break one of these. You can go watch some videos like Dutch bushcraft knives or whatever, their channel, the DBK channel. They beat the crap out of this thing and it survived everything except for getting shot, of course. But yeah, so yeah, hopefully you enjoyed watching this kind of little review of this knife, and what do you think of it? Leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching.